Musk is afraid, and he should be. Come at me, Elmo. Please join me in welcoming former Governor and U.S. Ambassador Madeline Hughes.
Thank you, Madeline.
You look great.
You look great.
To see all these people coming together for one reason. We want our country back. We want to be patriotic again.
Yeah.
We can't be patriotic with what is happening in Washington, D.C. We can't be patriotic about people being hauled off to El Salvador. We can't be patriotic about the disappearance of the Department of Education. I once was Deputy Secretary of Education. Those are good people. And we have to fight to hold on. We have to do what John Lewis said, is create good trouble. And your presence here today is patriotic. You're saying no, not only with your voice, but with your whole body. You're protesting. And protesting is patriotic.
Yes!
Something is happening in the last few days that this country is changing. It's almost spring, though you wouldn't know it today. You're brave no matter what the weather. This is Vermont. But there are little green shoots coming up. And by next week it'll be a big, strong tree. Green shoots are changing. We think of Cory Booker's speech. What a brave man. What a wonderful man. And if he can speak for 25 hours and some minutes, we can stand here and assert our belief in good old-fashioned democracy. And the other thing that's happening, I never thought I would be cheering for the demise of the stock market. And I can take it if he can be daunted, if he can be felled by bad economic results. He's crazy to have done what he does. No economist thinks that tariffs will lead to prosperity. But we have another green shoot, and that is Wisconsin. And Susan Crawford won by 10 points. That was phenomenal. So we can, it's not done yet, of course. We still have a big battle ahead. And we have to persevere. We have to not get discouraged. We have to not give up. And I've thought of 3 points that turns an ordinary citizen into an activist. The first point is you have to get mad. You have to get mad at what is happening. And then you have to think about it and have imagination to think about. That's the second point, to think about how you can change things.
Yeah.
And that's why you're here, to change things. And then you need optimism. So if you get mad, you have to have imagination, and you have to have optimism to believe that things can change and you can be the agent of change, and the system will respond. Will make a difference. And I'm here today partly because my mother, a widowed woman, brought me and my brother Edgar Ray to the United States. She had optimism. She believed in a better world. This was June of 1940. And she told us, in the United States, you can achieve anything.
Yes.
You can achieve anything. And we're going to continue to believe that so we can turn this country around. That believed in not censoring DEI, that believed in freedom of expression, in freedom for others. And I'm proud to be an American. Thank you.
Let's hear it for Madeline. Next up, we have Senator Peter Welch, who's up all night long in a vote-a-rama down in D.C. He made it here, and he's still talking, and because he just thought it was so important to talk to all of you. So please welcome our Senator Peter Welch.
Thank you, Montpelier. Thank you, Vermont. You know, we're used to breaking things, but they're good things because we break barriers to get to the other side. And Madeline Kuhman, the first woman to be governor of the state of Vermont, is still going strong. Thank you, Madeline. You know, let me get right to it. This president we have is on a lawless rampage. A lawless rampage, shredding the Constitution, disrespecting and shredding the judiciary, condoning picking up people with agents in masks and then without any hearing, shipping them off to unknown places. Coming in and completely violating the Constitution by impounding money, stopping and destroying the United States Agency of International Development. And think about it. It's not just that he had no authority to do that. He doesn't care. You go to the courts, they say that's wrong, but he's destroyed it already. And you know what? The cruelty of it. There's food in warehouses and hungry kids outside the warehouses, and the people who would deliver that food to those hungry kids have been fired, and that food is rotting in the warehouse. The cruelty of that. And there's medicine that families need, and it's right there. But it can't be delivered because the folks whose job it is to do in all these countries that have depended on us, they've been fired. That is not America. That is not what we do. And then we have the Project 2025 that violate the rights of our brothers and sisters, we can't allow that. And what we are also seeing is that Donald Trump is saying to the courts, enforce your own orders. I don't obey those orders. We haven't seen that ever in our history. So when we get calls, Bernie, Rebecca, and me, from Vermonters, every single day, hundreds of them, saying, stop it. We have to do everything we can, and we will. You know, everything that you say and think is worse than that. We've never seen the power of the presidency be used against the people of this country. And it is like Donald Trump has declared war on the people he is supposed to represent in this country. And these policies, you know, just going back, just think about that inauguration. It was inside because it was cold.
What's that?
What a great event.
Yeah, it's amazing. I think we even have much more people than I thought we would.
Yeah, I think so too.
Talking with somebody on the cleanup staff at the Capitol, and they looked at me and they heard it was going to go inside, and they said, Peter, wasn't it colder when Obama got elected? He was willing to go outside. Was it Trump or was it Zuckerberg who had to keep warm? Was it Musk that had to be warm? All the billionaires who were next to the president on that dais, it tells you all we need to know. That's right. Stop the coup. Stop the oligarchs. Stand up for Vermont and stand up for democracy. We do love Canada. And by the way, we love Greenland. And by the way, the Panama Canal belongs to Panama. I mean, what is with this guy? Seriously, what is with this guy? You know, we were last night on the Senate floor, Bernie and I were there. Step one for the Republicans to pass the Trump tax cut. And Bernie and I and several of our colleagues were voting against all of that, proposing our amendments to save Medicaid for kids, to save Medicaid for the 2 out of 3 seniors who are in nursing homes and depend on it, to save Medicaid for kids who are disabled, and it makes a difference whether they can have a wheelchair, to save Social Security. And what is it that the Republicans want to take all those things to pay for? It's that incredible tax cut. I mean, Elon Musk will get $50 million lower on the taxes he already doesn't pay with the Republican tax plan. I like this sign, make the millionaires pay. It's about time. It is really about time. And you know, Madeline said something, and I'm beginning to see it. You know, there's a lot of anxiety that we have. Every day you wake up and it's something new. You know, yesterday they fired everybody in the low-income heating assistance office in Washington. Can you believe that? But whatever they did yesterday, they'll top it with something today. And it's dismaying to us. But the cracks are beginning to show. These tariffs are going to hurt our farmers. These tariffs are going to hurt our manufacturers. These tariffs are going to hurt everyday Vermont families who are going to pay more for electricity, more for home heating fuel. Everybody's going to be hit. And for what? It makes no sense. But what's starting to become clear is not only Donald Trump arrogant, stupid.
would have
These
put up
things make
We would
no
have cut it at the end
sense.
if we wanted to go earlier because of
And we started and got 4 Republicans to vote to take those tariffs away. We won't get it in the House, but we got to keep fighting. And let me just say, we don't necessarily want to fight. We want to love. But if we have to fight so that we can love, that's what we'll do. I so remember when I was getting involved in politics, I had this notion that people in Washington or in high places, they do things that I didn't know. And my cousin Tommy died in Vietnam, and I started asking the question, what do they know that makes this right? And that's when I took to the streets along with my brothers and sisters to protest the Vietnam War. And when black citizens in this country couldn't vote, and we fought for civil rights, it wasn't the politicians in Washington who really made it happen. It was the people in the streets of Boston, of Springfield, Mass, where I grew up. And that's why every day when you call me and say, Peter, what did you do today? That's a fair question, and I'll do every single thing every day I can, along with Bernie and along with Becca. All of us have to do our part, because what we know here in Vermont is that the power of the people is from the bottom up. And we are here today standing up for hope and democracy, because what this is all about is each of us doing everything we can to live in a society where we help each other be the best person that we can be. Where we respect the dignity of each person in the life each person has chosen to lead. And that's why when I call Bernie today, and I tell him about the thousands of people who are out here, it's going to inspire us to continue, and we will continue to do with you every single thing we can to protect and preserve our democracy, because as Madeline said, we love our country. And another thing I'm going to say, God bless Cory Booker. And it was pretty astonishing, 25 hours, and I was with him at 6 in the morning, and he was eloquent, he was passionate, he was energetic, he made the case, and I said, Cory, you made the case, but you know, you left about 25 hours of bad stuff Trump did out, you need another 25. So, all of us, let's remember what's really important. And it's really important to help each other get through this Trump-driven crisis and threat to democracy, so that we come out on the other side, unified, together, stronger, and for America. Thank you all very much.
What a great shot.
All right. Next up, we have Senator Keisha Ramsden Sale.
Thank you, Senator Peter Welch. Thank you, Senator Bernie Sanders. Thank you, Congresswoman Becca Balint. Our federal delegation is doing the most, and we appreciate them so much. Let's please give Governor Madeline Kunin one more deep bow. She was born between 2 world wars. She became the first woman in U.S. history to be elected governor 3 times. And she has never stopped fighting for what is right and those who are left behind in almost 92 years. Good afternoon, Vermont. I am Senate Majority Leader Keisha Ram Hinsdale, and I am proud to be standing here with all of you, neighbors, organizers, advocates, everyday Vermonters who are showing up with courage, conviction, and heart. I'm especially proud to be here with my daughter, Mira, who is able to look out and see those who will watch over her, who will pave the way for her, and who will protect her rights more than I hope she will ever know. I told her that the country is sick and all these people came here to make it better. She's also going to be 2 next week, and she's working on doing something that she could teach to Donald Trump and his cronies. Keep your hands to yourself. So here we are today across Vermont and the nation with one message loud and clear: hands off. Hands off. Hands off our mouths. We will not be silenced. We will not be scared into the darkness. We will protest injustice. We will speak truth to power. We will tell our stories, and we will continue to demand our country back. Because let's be clear, it has never been more consequential to exercise our freedom of speech than it is right now. Across this country, voices are being silenced, books are being banned, and neighbors are being pitted against each other in unfounded suspicion and fear. This is a moment to really feel the weight of the Zora Neale Hurston quote: "If you are silent about your pain, they will kill you and say you enjoyed it." So when we say hands off our mouths, we are saying, let people name their oppression. Let people share their lived experience. Let people call out injustice, because staying silent will not protect us. And for those of us with privilege, those who can speak without risking our safety, our jobs, or our lives, it is our responsibility to do it loudly, boldly, and without apology. We must use our voices not just as shields, but as megaphones for those who are being silenced. Hands off our rights. We will not accept attacks on immigrants, on students, on young women like Rumeysa Ozturk, who was abducted in broad daylight in Boston and is now due her day in court and her constitutional rights here in Vermont. We will not accept attacks on our trans neighbors. And you should know that despite our differences, we voted 30-0 to stand with trans and non-binary Vermonters in the state Senate. We will not accept the rollback of abortion rights, voting rights, or any rights that let us live freely and fully. Hands off our state. We've led the way on civil rights. And we won't stand by while the rule of law is twisted, institutions are undermined, and our communities are divided. This isn't about partisanship. It's about principles. We live by a motto in this great state: freedom and unity. And that means we fight for each other's freedom. We come together in unity when one of us is attacked. And we do not let anyone tell us who we are or what we stand for. But while we are here together in this beautiful sea of humanity, beautiful, I want to add something else. While we demand hands-off our rights and our dignity, we must also be hands-on with our communities. Hands on our neighbors, hands on the hard work of care, hands on the shoulders of people who need support. Check in on each other, ask who's struggling, bring someone food, speak up in rooms where others are silenced. And to the protesters holding signs every day, rain or shine, in front of the Tesla dealership on Shelburne Road, thank you! You lift my spirits up and bring my blood pressure down every day when I drive home from the State House. You are not screaming into the void or preaching to the choir. You are reminding us that we have the power when we stand together and do not back down. That reminds me of an image I'll leave you with. The sequoia tree, the tallest tree in the world, the tallest living thing on earth. They survive because they do not stand alone.
Oh, baby.
I was 7, you were a little scared. You were a little scared. Mommy's yelling, and it's a little scary. They survive wildfires, storms, and centuries of change because their roots reach out and intertwine beneath the surface, holding each other up, locking arms underground, refusing to fall. That's what we do here in Vermont. We reach out, we hold one another up, we stand tall together, because as Vice President Kamala Harris reminds us, courage is contagious. So let's keep showing up for each other, our communities, and our future. Hands off our rights, hands on our communities, freedom and unity, now and always. Thank you.
Next up, we have author, sociologist, former senior policy advisor to U.S. Senator Sanders, Dr. Nikhil Goyal.
Good afternoon. It is so wonderful to be here. I can feel the energy of this incredible crowd. I want to thank the organizers for their work in putting this rally together, and thank all of you for showing up for our neighbors and our democracy. We are standing on the shoulders of our ancestors who are looking down on us. The Americans who liberate our people from the tyranny of the British Crown. The Americans who saved the Union and abolished slavery. The Americans who secured the New Deal and ended the Great Depression. The Americans who saved the world from Nazism and fascism. The Americans who crushed the Jim Crow order and won civil rights for African Americans. We stand on their shoulders. We carry on their legacy. We toppled a king before, and we can topple a king once again. We are the people that we have been waiting for. Nobody is coming to save us. We are standing up. We are speaking out. And we will not go down, not without a fight. Public education is the bedrock of our democracy. So when Donald Trump comes for our public schools, our educators, our unions, he is coming for our democracy. He is coming for all of us. Abolishing the Department of Education might be one of the dumbest and most reckless actions a president has taken. And we lived through the presidency of George W. Bush. As educators, Our most important duty is to do everything in our power to protect our students. And when somebody is hurting our students, we have a responsibility to stop them. We will not allow Donald Trump to abolish, defund, or privatize our public schools, to pay for tax cuts for his billionaire friends and corporations. We will not allow Donald Trump to slash millions of dollars from Vermont public schools, take away the arts, music, sports, after-school programs, and special education services from our children. We will not allow him to increase class sizes in our schools. Our class sizes mirror those of some of the most wealthy private schools in this country, where the wealthiest parents send their children. Phillips Exeter Academy in New Hampshire caps class size at 12. Sidwell Friends School in Washington, D.C., where Presidents Obama and Clinton sent their children, has class sizes of 20. If it's good for the president's children, you better believe it's damn good for rural kids right here in Vermont. Finally, we will not allow Donald Trump to expand school vouchers and force working families in Vermont to subsidize the private school educations of rich kids. We will not stand for this, whether it comes from Donald Trump or from Governor Phil Scott. So when I say public dollars, you say public schools, public dollars, public dollars, public dollars. We, the educators, may not be in the White House. We may not be in control of the House and Senate. We may not be in the boardrooms of corporations, but we are in our classrooms and we are in our schools. Nobody can take that away from us. So let's hear it for our Vermont teachers, our librarians, our classroom aides, our nurses, our administrators, our counselors, our bus drivers, our cafeteria workers, our janitorial staff. You are our nation's heroes. You deserve higher pay, better working conditions, and public officials who give a damn about you and treat you with the respect and dignity that you have earned. Now look, I'm a proud Democrat, and I was honored to be elected by Vermonters to be a national delegate to the Democratic National Convention for Kamala Harris. It's time for Democrats to stop playing dead and start fighting like hell. It's time for Democrats to take the lead of Becca and Bernie and Peter and Cory Booker and AOC and Ro Khanna. We are the party of working people. We are the party that won the 40-hour work week. We are the party that won the minimum wage, collective bargaining rights, Social Security, civil rights legislation, Medicare, Medicaid, the Clean Air Act, the Clean Water Act, the Child Tax Credit, the Affordable Care Act, marriage equality, the American Rescue Plan, the Inflation Reduction Act. It is time to lead with our values and fight for lower costs for working families. We are proud Vermonters. Our state has always been the moral conscience of our nation. We were the first state to abolish slavery. We were the first state to legalize same-sex unions. We were the first state to make polluters pay, and we will make history again. It is easy to watch what is happening in Washington and fall into a state of despair and hopelessness. But that is what Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans want us to do. They are banking on us being silent and beaten down and exhausted by the chaos. But we cannot let them win. The only way we're going to get through the next 4 years is by leaning on each other, coming together in communities, as friends, as neighbors, as Vermonters, and as Americans, and fighting like hell for the rights and freedoms we hold so dear. So let me ask you, Vermont, are you ready to fight? Are you ready to organize? Are you ready to make calls and knock on doors and speak to your friends and your neighbors and your family members? Are you ready to stand up for our public schools? Are you ready to stand up for our unions? Are you ready to stand up for Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security? Are you ready to stand up for reproductive rights? Are you ready to stand up for our environment? And let me ask you, are you ready to win? This is our moment. This is our time. Let's go take our country back. Thank you very much.
Next up, we have our group of singers singing "O Canada."
In honor of our sovereign and independent neighbor to the north, we'll sing "O Canada" in English, French, and English, one verse. Feel free to join. Feel free to join because the choir never showed up. You gotta sing right into it. You're the one with the voice. Oh,
Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. Car ton bras fait porter l'épée, il sait porter la croix. Ton histoire est une épopée des plus brillants exploits. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
It's over there. Yeah, it's way over there.
Next, we have Josh Freed. Josh Freed is an award-winning filmmaker and writer for the Montreal Gazette, for which he has won 3 national newspaper awards as Canada's best columnist, as well as the Canadian National Medal for Humor. Welcome, Josh Freed.
Thank you. It's great to hear our national anthem played here, so thank you, and as we say in Canada, merci beaucoup. Now, to be honest with you, until recently, we Canadians didn't sing our national anthem very much. Most of us didn't even know the words. That's true because they're always changing. But lately, our whole country is singing. It's singing in concerts, at sports events, and even at movies and sometimes in front of our televisions. It's this crazy new Canadian patriotism that's been created entirely by your American president. So thank you, candidate. It's been created by his bullying and his dangerous threats against our country. So it's really great to see you all here resisting and protesting the many, many ugly and I think cruel things that I think we must all resist. I'm not going to talk about your country. You know more about that than me. But I know a lot of Americans don't know that much about my country, Canada. So I'll try to catch you up on our vast and angry resistance movement at home. And I'll start by telling you how I spent yesterday. And I spent it like most Canadians. I was at the supermarket, squinting at the product labels to see what country they came from. For instance, my usual orange juice, Tropicana, the oranges were grown in Florida. So I put it back on the shelf. My usual peanut butter had peanuts from Kentucky. I put that right back on the shelf. And I got almond butter from Canada and mango juice from Mexico. However, the Boston lettuce turned out to be Canadian. So you can never tell. But all around me in this supermarket, that's what's weird, dozens of other people were doing exactly the same thing as me, peering at labels and tripling their shopping time. In surveys, 75% of Canadians say they are doing their best to boycott all U.S. goods. That is 30 million Canadians doing everything they can not to buy a single thing from your country. Now, by the way, it's not that easy to boycott your country because we've always been so interconnected with your country. I'll give an example. They tried to boycott a fast food chain called Boston Pizza, but it turned out to be Canadian. And they boycotted another one called New York Fries, also Canadian. But as somebody said, a joker said, if it has an American city in the name, it's probably Canadian. Then again, Tim Horton, which is our most famous national donut shop, that's American. So the boycott is really complicated because our countries have been interconnected for so long, it's hard to know what separates us. I mean, how many of my cars, 31,000 parts, are made in Canada and not by my new U.S. trade enemy? Can I drive it without using the U.S. transmission? Not easy. I know it all sounds crazy, but boycotting American-made products is really all we Canadians can do to send a message that your president is bullying and insulting our country. He's bullying us with stupid, senseless tariffs that hurt tens of millions of people on both sides of the border, tens of millions of workers. He's infuriating us with repeated threats about seizing our water, our Arctic, and even our entire country as a 51st stupid state. I'm sorry. And he keeps repeating this ad nauseum over and over and over. So we're fighting back as best we can and saying, hands off Canada. That's also why flight bookings to the U.S. this year are down by 75% as Canadians travel elsewhere. Anywhere but here. And that includes me, I'm sorry to say. I mean, I love visiting Burlington and Montpelier and Middlebury and a lot of other places. I come biking here in summer. I come skiing in snow in winter. But I won't come back again. I'm not coming back. My microphone is gone. Hello? Does this, no?
Testing. Come on.
Hello, hello.
Check 1, 2. Test, test.
Can you?
All right, you just had to range. Walk over here. Walk over here.
Can that work?
Genocide is a bipartisan crime. Free Palestine. Free Palestine. Genocide is a bipartisan crime. Free Palestine.
Still working, still working, still working, still working.
Is it him or is it So I was saying, I spent my whole life visiting Montpelier, Burlington, Stowe, I ski, I bike here, I've done this for decades, but I'm just not going to come back here again until the threats and the bullying and the ugliness against my country and other countries stop. I know a lot of other countries, seems that a lot of other countries in Europe and elsewhere are really intimidated by your president. And they've mostly, if you ask me, gone silent, as have too many of your own Democratic Party politicians, President Company accepted. But we Canadians are really fighting back more noisily than any other country you'll see. We are practically the international resistance against your president. But we often feel quite alone and abandoned. So again, I'm really glad to see you all out here fighting as hard as you can too. Now, I'll just make a fast segue and say, why are we Canadians not eager to become U.S. citizens? Well, I'll give you a couple of fast reasons, okay? We have universal Medicare for everyone. It's not perfect, but it's free for everyone. It covers everything. There's no such thing as a precondition. You can't lose your house. You can't go bankrupt. It's free. We have a subsidized child care for all families. We have free dental care for kids, and it's about to spread to all adults. We have 6-month-long maternal and paternal government leave for pregnancy. We have legal marijuana across the country. We have legal abortions everywhere. They're paid for by the government. And our college tuition rarely costs more than $5,000. That's as high as it can go. So that's why we like our country just the way it is, on the other side of the border. And frankly, I think some of you might prefer if we invaded you and annexed you. That way, we can make you the 11th province and give you all those free services too. There's a bit more good news, however, from Canada. For Canadians, your president's threats have created a remarkable new patriotism in Canada. I've never seen anything like it. We Canadians have actually never been big nationalists or big flag wavers. But there are suddenly millions of flags flying all across the country. There are hundreds of thousands of flags tattooed to people's hands and arms and faces. We're singing "O Canada," and we're actually learning the words. We are booing American sports teams. And we are buying Canadian things, not American. And in our coming election, you may know, we're probably going to elect our Liberal Party. Now, this party was 25% behind in the polls 3 months ago. It is now 10% ahead in the polls. And that's entirely because your president started bad-mouthing and threatening us. And that's because our Conservative Party candidate is a MAGA lookalike. And right now, that is the last thing on earth most Canadians want anything to do with. So, we want someone to defend our country against yours in a different kind of MAGA. And it goes, "Make America go away." Our country's highest award in Canada is something called the Order of Canada. It's a bit like your Congressional Medal of Honor. So I recently suggested sarcastically in my Gazette newspaper column in Montreal that we should award your president the Order of Canada because he's united all Canadians like never before in patriotism and fury at him. Anyway, I'll end this little talk by saying I've always loved coming to Vermont and spending time with you Vermonters, and I'm going to miss you. So I hope your resistance movement keeps growing and growing and growing like ours has, and I hope that I'll be able, well, by the way, where it has 88% support in Canada, and I hope that I'll be able to come back here again someday once when your government returns to its senses. Until then, please support our country or come visit us and spend your US dollars. Ideally, spend them at par because our dollar keeps falling because your stupid president keeps threatening us. And we need all the help we can get. Good luck. Bye, Canadian. Keep on resisting like we are. Hands off both our countries.
Refugee Action Network.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. Can you hear me? Okay. My name is Ali Zini, and I'm very proud to be here as the Executive Director of the Central Vermont Refugee Action Network, or CVRAN. If you're local to Washington County, you may have heard of us, but many of you likely have not. We are a small nonprofit service provider working to assist refugees, asylum seekers, and migrant workers to access things like housing, legal support, job training, and social connection across central Vermont. Thank you. We do most of our work behind the scenes within the community and away from the public eye. And yet we find ourselves challenged in this particular moment to take a bigger and more public action than perhaps ever before in our organization's 10-year history. It is clear that we must band together and mobilize to protect all of our community members, especially those whose immigration status makes them a target for potential civil rights violations or seizure by the authorities supposedly here to keep us safe. We are here today to say, keep your hands off our neighbors, our friends, our students, and our loved ones. Hands off refugees, asylees, and migrant workers in Vermont and across our country. There are current... I think it's not working again. We're out again. Testing. Oh, okay, I'm back. All right. There are currently over 122 million people worldwide who are forcibly displaced from their homelands, according to UNHCR. Organizations across the country and within Vermont operate based on a mission to serve people fleeing persecution and violence. In January, the U.S. Department of State put an indefinite freeze on refugee admissions and issued a stop work order and funding freeze for national refugee resettlement agencies like USCRI in Colchester and Rutland and ECDC in Brattleboro. While the durability of this order is battled out in the courts, families remain separated. Refugees remain abroad without hope of resettlement into the United States. And the bulk of the work to safely care for those who currently reside in the U.S. is falling. Oh. Test. Hello. Test. Is this one? Nope. Hello. Hello. Oh, no, nothing.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's...
They maybe shouldn't have put the box on the ring.
Oh, is it this? I don't know. Hello, test. Sorry, everyone. Test. Hello.
You have to grab the bullhorn. Yeah, that's what we're looking for.
Oh, okay.
There.
Test.
Testing? Yeah.
Hello? Can you all hear me? No. Can anyone hear me? Sorry to those of you in the back. I apologize. We're gonna have to make do. Where was I? Hello. Okay, I'm gonna scream. While the durability of this executive order is battled out in the courts, families remain separated, refugees remain abroad without hope of resettlement into the United States, and the bulk of the work to safely care for those residing in the U.S. is falling to state and local communities. Repeated attempts to slash temporary protected status for refugees who are, or who This is not. Hello. This.
Test. No.
Countess is figuring it out.
Test.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you. Sorry. Thank you so much for bearing with us here. Thank you for being here in the rain. All right, back to it. Repeated attempts to slash temporary protected status for individuals fleeing countries that are credibly unsafe to return to has stripped Vermont families of their right to work and live here in the communities that they have called home for years, and threatens asylum seekers with deportation to countries that they may not even call home or that we know are not safe to return to. Mass detention and deportations are occurring across the country, including in Vermont. We cannot sit back as long-standing procedures and protections under the law are systematically dismantled, whether it's happening to non-citizens or it's happening to you. Each of us must speak up to demand better for all Vermonters. My message to you all gathered here for this galvanizing day of action is to find ways to take this energy and weave it into your everyday life. Find ways that work for you to remain informed, active, and deeply in contact with your own sense of empathy and ethics. On your own or with friends, join a protest as you've all done here today. Follow a bill that you care about and write to your legislators. Become a host family to a new arrival or volunteer to teach English classes. Support immigrant businesses here on Main Street in Montpelier and across Vermont. Attend Know Your Rights trainings and spread information about ICE tactics. Participate in targeted boycotts. Join or build an organization fighting for immigrant rights, and make sure that whatever you do, you are somehow contributing to the transformation of Vermont into a safer and more inclusive place for refugees, asylum seekers, and immigrants not just to live, but to thrive. By being here today, you're signaling to yourself and to your community that you are ready to step up against government overreach and work in solidarity to protect one another. We owe it to the human beings seeking refuge here to put in the work to build the world we all want to see. We owe it to ourselves not to turn away from the devastating reality of the global systems of oppression that result in increasing refugee crises across our world today. It is easy to give in to hopelessness, but I'm here to remind you that empathy is our greatest resource in the fight to protect human rights. It is our shared moral imperative to choose ongoing, community-based, organized action to resist oppression and channel the power of the people, as Senator Welch said, from the bottom to the top. Immigrants are our partners, politically, economically, and socially, in the pursuit of a better and more just Vermont and America for all. Thank you all very much.
This fight is about up versus down, top versus bottom. But when they push us down, we rise up. When we fight, we win. There was some controversy about our next speaker, but I thought it was important that we have bipartisan representation. And so I'm proud to introduce our next speaker, Lieutenant Governor John Rogers.
Thank you. As a Republican who supports women's rights, the LGBTQ community, local farmers and loggers, our manufacturers and other great Vermont businesses, the free press, the United States Constitution, and the rule of law. I'm appalled at what the Trump administration is doing to our state and our country. This cannot be a partisan fight. This needs to be all of us working together to make the Republicans in Congress grow some courage. In 1859, Abraham Lincoln would articulate the ideology of the Republican Party, defining it as the party of ordinary Americans standing together against the oligarchs of slavery. They have forgotten their founding fathers, and we need to return to Lincoln Republicans. I am embarrassed by the lack of courage shown by the Republicans in Congress. I may not agree with Liz Cheney on everything, but she has more courage than all of the congressional Republicans put together. It is time that the Republicans in Congress stand up for their constituents instead of following the will of their president. To the people of Quebec, and the people of all of Canada, I say, Vermonters value our families, friends, neighbors, and allies in Canada, and do not support the trade policies of the Trump administration or the attack on their sovereignty. The people of Canada and Greenland don't want to be part of the United States because the first thing they would have to give up is high-quality universal health care. Our federally qualified health care centers provide health care for tens of thousands of Vermonters, and they operate on razor-thin margins. Any cuts to Medicaid could put these essential health care centers out of business. The people who use federally qualified health care centers would be left to neglect their health care or receive their health care in emergency rooms, which will add further pressure to our hospitals and the overcost of health care in Vermont. I fear that this could lead to the collapse of our health care system as we know it. I would be fine with getting rid of Medicaid as soon as Congress and the administration implements Medicare for all or some kind of universal health care coverage. Respected Republicans like Ronald Reagan spoke out against tariffs and trade wars because he knew that they were detrimental to Americans. As Treasurer Pichek has pointed out, these tariffs will lead to a massive cost increase for Vermonters who cannot afford to waste another $3,800 a year for nothing. I've been hearing from people in the forest products industry who've already been significantly impacted as Canada has shut off the markets for low-grade lumber and China and Vietnam have shut off the markets for hardwood. They literally have valuable logs sitting on the yards rotting because of Trump's ridiculous tariffs. Farmers will be paying more for sawdust if they can get it out of Canada, and those who truck it will likely lose business. Farmers in the Midwest who provide food for the world will go out of business because of the Trump tariffs, and it could lead to food shortages around the world. Many Vermont manufacturers and companies will lose massive amounts of money and sales because of tariffs. American brewers and distilleries are already seeing their orders cut. That includes one great distillery right here in Vermont at Caledonia Spirits. I'm proud of the Vermont Supreme Court's Chief Justice Paul Reiber, the Vermont Bar Association Board of Managers, Treasurer Mike Pichek, and Attorney General Charity Clark for affirming their support of the rule of law. At the same time, President Trump and his administration violate the laws and the Constitution on a regular basis. This is unacceptable. It is also unacceptable that big law firms are caving into his will. These spineless law firms are another prime example of the lack of courage that has infected so many who should be standing up for the rights of Americans and the Constitution. In the words of the late, great President Jimmy Carter, Tolstoy did not write War and Peace about Napoleon or the Tsar of Russia, or even the generals, except on rare occasion. He wrote it about the students and the housewives and the barbers and the farmers and the privates in the army. And there goes my piece of paper. And the point of the book is that the course of human events, even the greatest historical events, are not determined by the leaders of a nation or state, like presidents or governors or senators. They are controlled by the combined wisdom and courage and commitment and discernment and unselfishness and compassion and love and idealism of the common, ordinary people like us here today. If that was true in the case of Russia, where they had a czar, or France, where they had an emperor, how much more true is it of our own case, where the Constitution charges us with a direct responsibility for determining what our government is and ought to be. As I understand it, I am the only Republican across the entire country with the courage to stand up, and I'm calling on all Republicans to stand up. I would like to give a quick shout out to Representative Lipsky and Representative Donahue, who are two independents here in Vermont, who are also out here. This cannot be a partisan issue. We have to all stand together. Thank you.
Next up, our treasurer, Mike Petek.
Well, good afternoon, Vermont. I'm Mike Petek, your state treasurer, and it's such an honor to be here with you this afternoon. I gotta tell you what, this is supposed to be a national day of protest, but when you see thousands of Vermonters coming out in the cold and in the rain, you know this is more than just a protest. This is a movement. And where are we standing? We're standing here in front of the People's House. It doesn't belong to Elon Musk. It doesn't belong to Donald Trump. It's your state house. It's Vermont's house. And we're here to say, hands off. Hands off our democracy. Hands off our rights. Hands off our future. This is the third rally we've had here at the State House, and it's the largest one by far. Every single time we've come here to raise our voices, they have come out a little louder. Every time we've come together, we've stood a little stronger. And every time we have shown up, we've made Donald Trump and Elon Musk a little smaller. Now I gotta tell you, I hear the same questions you hear every day. When is the Democratic Party gonna stand up? When are they gonna find their voice? What's the right message? But I gotta tell you something that needs to be said. This moment is bigger than Democrats versus Republicans. This moment is about what is right and what is wrong. And in this battle of what is right and what is wrong, we don't just need Democrats, we need Republicans and independents and progressives and moderates and everyone in between. Quite frankly, we just need anyone with a backbone. We need anyone who has the courage to stand tall and say clearly and loudly what is wrong. It's wrong to grab a young, tough student off the street for no reason other than protesting the administration. It's wrong to sneak her through Vermont to get to a jurisdiction that will treat her less fairly. It's wrong to round people up on the streets with no evidence of a crime, no hearing, and send them off to a foreign prison. We are here to say loudly and clearly, hands off our neighbors. It is wrong to threaten the very existence of Social Security, a lifeline that millions of Americans depend upon every single day, and they've been paying into their entire lives. It's It's wrong to cut Medicaid, leaving our most vulnerable Americans to not have the access to health care they so desperately need. It's wrong to start a senseless trade war against our friends and allies. It'll do nothing but drive up costs and drive our economy into a recession. Higher costs for groceries, housing, clothing might not matter much to Donald Trump and his billionaire friends, but it matters a great deal to working people all across this country. We are here to loudly and clearly say, get your hands off our money. As a member of the LGBTQ plus community who married his husband this past summer, I'm here to say, get your hands off our marriage. And as a member of the LGBTQ plus community, I want to stand here for our transgender friends to say, get your hands off our healthcare choices. Women here in Vermont and all the women across this country, we are all here to loudly and clearly say, get your hands off our bodies. My friends, these policies are not policy failures. These things are wrong because they are moral failures. We have a moral obligation to take action over apathy. To quote June Jordan, we are the ones we have been waiting for. And look around you, Vermont. We are stepping up. We have found our voices. So, in closing, I want to make something very clear. It's not us who hold office that have the power. It's not the politicians or the billionaires or the corporate elites. It's all of you. You have the power to change the course of this nation. Look no further than what happened this week in Wisconsin. The richest man in the world, Elon Musk, thought he could buy influence, thought he could crush the will of the people. But the people stood up and said no. So here is the truth. The power isn't in their hands, it is in our hands. It's in our hands to demand justice. It's in our hands to fight for fair economic opportunities. It's in our hands to protect our freedoms and our civil rights. It's in our hands to stand up for what's right, and it's in our hands to show them we won't back down. Let's remember, the power always has and always will be in your hands. Thank you, Vermont. Keep fighting, keep standing up, and keep taking back your power. Thank you.
Next, we have poet, musician, Toussaint St. Negritude.
Okay, hands off our voices. I said hands off our voices. Now you say it. Hands off our voices. Hands off our voices. Because our means our. Not just sitting here listening to me. Hands off our voices. Okay? The first poem I'm going to do here is called I'm Going with Harriet. I don't know how many of you are with me on this, or how you might want to do as you wish, but I would be totally remiss if I didn't say in all seriousness, I am not going back. I am not going back. Y'all can yearn and pine crying for status quo's return all you want, but I ain't going back. Send my regards to capitalist greed, the same irrational creed that has now left you to writhe and bleed. But I am not going back. I am not going back to that plantation that has dogged me to my knees. I am not going back to the treachery that has denied my most vital need to fabulously simply be me. I am not going back to your complicit country, 'tis of thee. The buck stops here. Y'all can return to death as you wish. I will stake my fortunes on the livelihood of mountains far from all this. The currency of my survival is as free as the stars from which I exist. The fruition of this garden blossoms to a higher time and bliss. Y'all can wait for what thrills your master's lash, but I ain't going back for none of this. Thank you. I've been hearing a lot of people moaning and crying about wanting to get back to, quote, normalcy. I don't know if you've been asleep, but it's all that, quote, normalcy that got us where we are right now. Normalcy has not been kind to a whole lot of us, in case you need to know. This next poem I'm going to do is called Trying Times. Trying times, trying times. These are trying times, much like the very same times Roberta Flack sang across the very same signs of dying eyes and dying minds. America is dying to be blind. America has always been dying to be blind in these trying times, trying times, trying times. As we look towards our own cowardice, trying our best not to see our own cowardice, we are trying to lose our minds. We are trying to lose our minds so that in these trying times we can pretend that we are always doing fine, because these are trying times. And America is dying to be blind. America is dying to be blind. America is dying not to see. America is dying not to see the freely elected implosion of our lives, the freely elected annihilation of our blackness, of our brownness, of our queerness, our transness. We are dying not to see the freely elected annihilation of our freedoms, the freely elected annihilation of our futures, the freely elected annihilation of our rights to shine as we are. America is dying not to see who we are. America is dying not to see who we are. America is dying not to see, dying to be blind in these trying times, trying our best to lose our minds so as not to see the freely elected fascism, of these trying times, trying not to see the freely elected fascism of these trying times, trying times. We must open our eyes and we must see what's going on. And as we see what's going on, we have to acknowledge what has always been going on since 1776. We have to acknowledge the situation to make it better. This last poem I'm going to do is called In Pots, Big as Human Dignity. Once upon a time, there will be this thing called freedom. Freedom. Oh, if I could only show you the view from there. Liberation for as far as your soul can see. We'll all be loving all the love we please. Once upon a time, there will be this thing called freedom. By this point, folks will have consciously obliterated all forms of boundary a long time ago. No presumption of supremacy shall ever be allowed there. Once upon a time, there will be this thing called freedom. We will know this to be true because we have always known this to be true. As is the artistry of the horn of the moon, the handiwork of our liberation shall be painted clear across our lives in the spectral hues of translucent transformation, transcendentally raising all ascendant affirmations. Once upon a time, there will be this thing called freedom. Liberation for as far as your soul can see. In pots big as human dignity, folks will be cooking up radicalizations of things that today we couldn't even think to believe. There will be jazz and beats of people dancing in the streets. Folks will be so free. Folks will be so free. Folks will be so free. Won't nobody remember any other way to be. Oh, if I could only show you the view from there. And the last thing I want to say here, make this happen. Dead seriously, and I'm talking to you. Don't wait for someone to come to the rescue, because we're the ones that have to come to the rescue. As you might have noticed, you look around, I'm a black man in Vermont. There aren't many of us. People keep asking me, Tucson, do you feel safe? Hell no. No, I don't. You need me to tell you that? So if you want us all to be safe, if you want me to be safe, if you want us all to be safe, get up off your ankles and make it happen. I'm dead serious. I'm not bullshitting. Make it happen. Thank you. Thanks so much.
Yeah, I suppose. Maybe.
Okay. Each one of us has been called to use the power we have to protect each other and the country and state we love. I honor your protest today. I honor your using your voice and your freedom to speak out against tyranny, against chaos, against oligarchy. The power that I have as Attorney General in this moment is great. And rest assured, I will use that power to protect you and the country we love. As Attorney General, I am the person who represents this sovereign state of Vermont. I represent the state in court, and when the Trump administration violates the Constitution or federal law, I sue. So far, in the tiny 10 weeks that Donald Trump has been president, I have sued him a lot. And every time the president violates the law or the Constitution of the United States, I will be there. Across this country, my fellow Democratic attorneys general have joined me in showing that collaboration and our united passion for upholding the rule of law can stop the Trump administration. The birthright citizenship ban, remember that, has been blocked. The federal funding freeze, blocked. The freeze of NIH grants to research institutions like the University of Vermont has been blocked. The plundering of Americans' data at the Treasury Department by Elon Musk and friends has been blocked. The mass firing of federal workers, blocked. And we await decisions in other cases like the gutting of the Department of Education, unconstitutional and illegal. And in the past 2 days alone, I have had to sue the Trump administration twice. Thursday, over an appalling and blatantly unconstitutional voter disenfranchisement executive order. And yesterday, I had to sue the Trump administration for trying to gut the Department of Libraries and other agencies. Because I took an oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States, and because I believe in America, I believe in its structure of democracy, the three branches of government, federalism, which preserves the sovereignty of the great state of Vermont, and of course, freedom. Do not despair, Vermont. Our country is strong. In this country, designed to be of the people, by the people, for the people, there are no kings. There are no kings. Our project for the next year and a half is to keep using our power to stand up for the rule of law, for our great nation, for democracy, and for each other. The midterm elections will come, and I truly believe through the chaos and disrespect of sacred American values, the voters will restore sanity to Congress. And yes, and that is why Donald Trump is moving so quickly and so destructively, because he knows on Election Day 2026, his power will sunset. May it be so, and may freedom ring.
Dr. Kathy Bullock, Professor Emerita of Music at Berea College in Kentucky.
Hello, Vermont! You looking beautiful! Oh my gosh! I've invited my colleague Carrie Wright from Binghamton College to come and help me as we sing together. I want you to know that the great statesman and civil rights activist John Lewis said that the civil rights movement without music was like a bird without wings. So, repeat after me. Everybody ought to know.
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 Everybody ought to know
What freedom is.
what freedom is.
And everybody ought to know.
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 Everybody ought to know
What justice is.
what justice is.
And everybody ought to know.
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 Everybody ought to know
What freedom is.
what freedom is.
Yes, yes, and yes. Give yourselves a hand. All right. I'm going to share a song with you, and then we will sing our way and prepare to march. All right. This song, I stand on behalf of my parents from the Lehman and Catherine White, my ancestors, both those who were enslaved and those who are free. I stand on behalf of every human person in singing the song that says, "Still I Rise." I'm telling the message that regardless of what happens, still I rise. Just a little bit. Okay, here we go. If I can just get my pace. Shattered, but I'm not broken. Wounded, but time will heal. Heavy the load, the cross I bear. Lonely the road I trod and I dare shaken, but here I stand, weary, but I press on. Long are the nights, the tears I cry, but dark are the days, no sun in the sky, but still I rise, never to give in, never to give up against all odds, yet still I rise, high above the sky. At times I feel low, but still I Yes! ago or longer. We'll sing, keep your eyes on the prize. Say that, keep your eyes. Keep your eyes on the prize. And hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on, hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on, hold on. Hold on, hold on. Hold on, hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. The only thing that we did wrong is stayed in the wilderness much too long. And keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. I know the one thing that we did right was the day we started to fight. So keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. Another one said, we woke up this morning with my mind stayed on freedom. Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on freedom. We woke up this morning with my mind stayed on freedom. Stay on freedom. Hallelujah. 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 Now in these songs, y'all have to move, y'all. We get ready to march. Come on, get these feet moving now. And our hands back. Come on. Oh, walking and talking with my mind stayed on freedom. Walking and talking with my mind stayed on freedom. Yes, walking and talking with my mind. Come on, y'all. Stayed on freedom. Hallelujah. 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 Hands off. 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 Democracy. Hands off. Hands off. Hands off. Security. Hands off. Hands off. Hands off. Hands off. Hands off. You ready to march? All right.
Time to march. So we're going down, and we're gonna go, let's see, which way is that, right? We're going, follow the band. And one more time, give it up for Kathy Bullock.
Oh, thank